I had to decide, Hong Kong or Hawaii. Our job was to make friends. God, like, is this really what you want me to do? Like, sometimes I don't feel qualified. Mauricio, I want to be baptized. We went on a mission trip to the Philippines.
Really?
So we started Connection. Oh, and this was a youth worship for students. And by the grace of God, this worship still is running. We were able to see 6 baptisms. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give what you don't have. You will see that in serving other people, God is going to serve your heart, your life.
What is up, you guys? Welcome to the podcast sponsored by the Student Missions Department at Southern Adventist University.
Today we're going to learn about someone that went to serve to Hong Kong for 1 year as a student ambassador.
I'm Emily Schneider.
I am Edwin Benitez, and welcome to
Yours to Use.
Today we have a very special guest. He's a junior theology major.
He served as a student ambassador in Hong Kong.
One of his favorite hobbies is to send Instagram reels to his friends.
And apparently he also really likes putting avocado, honey, and fruit on top of his pancakes.
That's weird. But we have Mauricio Haldin.
Thank you for having me, guys. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to be here, I don't get to wear this very often, so it's a privileged opportunity,
Yes.
So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. So today, to start out, we want to see how much you know about Hong Kong.
Oof.
So we're kind of starting a tradition here on the podcast. Every guest that we have, we're going to ask them a few questions. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to ask you questions, and you're going to have 1 minute to see how many questions you can get through.
Okay. And
are you ready for this?
General knowledge of
Yeah.
Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I
Yeah.
got
Just don't worry about it, bro.
Okay,
Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
You got it, bro.
you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
Let's do it.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're good to go?
The time.
Okay. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Okay. Colors of the flag.
Red and white.
Okay. Capital city.
I mean, it's a city, Hong Kong.
Okay. Name of institution you served at.
Hong Kong Adventist College.
Official language.
Cantonese.
Say a word in Cantonese.
Ngoi Sai, thank you.
What's a local dish?
A local dish is bolo bao, which is it's a little, it's a bolo bao. You can look it up.
What's a popular animal?
Popular animal in Hong Kong, definitely the wild boars. You can see them everywhere.
He was telling me about that.
Yeah.
What's the population?
About 7 to 9 million people.
Okay. Most popular sport?
Basketball.
What's a tourist spot?
The pier, the TST.
Okay. What's the currency?
Hong Kong dollars.
Can you name a country that shares borders with Hong Kong?
I mean, it's only China.
Okay. Yeah. What side of the street do people drive on?
On the right, the opposite one from
That's
here.
it.
Right.
Time.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Good job.
You got 2.
You got
13 answers.
Let's go.
Okay.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I think that was very good. I think that was very
That's
good.
really, really
good. Job,
Thank you
good job,
for
bro.
not. Thank you for not asking more about the language because I don't really know more than you.
Give us one more sentence.
One more sentence.
Yeah.
One more sentence.
I got you. I can say Happy Sabbath in Cantonese. Okay, are you ready?
Okay, let's hear it.
So it's 11 yo ya phai lak.
Oh.
Right?
I don't know.
Is that accurate?
Our Cantonese.
Yeah,
viewers will
put in the
prove.
comments,
Please put in the comments if he said it correctly or not.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so it sounds like you actually did learn a lot about like where you were serving. So can you tell us a little bit what led you up to this? What got you interested in being a SM?
So I switched my major my second year of college on my sophomore year. I was doing theology for a whole year, and then while I was learning a lot of good things and everything, I started to think this is all nice and everything, but it's all theory,
Right.
And I really want to experience what it's like to be a pastor, So originally I was planning to be a youth pastor in Hawaii, but along the way. God had different plans, and I ended up going to Hong Kong. So that was the reason why I wanted to serve. I wanted to go out there and experience, to live what it is like to be a pastor,
Right.
and to see if this is really my calling, my ministry. So, yeah.
Yeah, you kind of said it already, but how did you decide to go to Hong Kong?
Yeah. So basically, I was already accepted to go to Hawaii. I mean, I was already like talking to the pastors and to see what church they're gonna put me in. And then there's this guy, you know, this kid right here. And he's like, hey bro, you know, I'm going to Hong Kong and whatever, you know, like you should come, you know. And he tells me, and I didn't have any idea about Hong Kong, you know. So he sends me all the information, all the, you know, like the stuff that they do there. And I thought, you know, this is pretty cool, you know, like I've never been outside of this continent, you know. And I mean, going to Asia and like being in a school environment, getting to take some classes, maybe learn the language. At the time, I didn't know it was gonna be kind of, you know, impossible. So I was like, I had a lot of hopes. And then, you know, after praying, and I just applied. You know, I applied just to have, you know, a second option. God opened the doors, and I had to decide, you know, Hong Kong or Hawaii.
Wow.
And, you know, after praying, talking to people, I decided to go to Hong Kong. And it's been one of the best decisions I've ever, you know, taken in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're like on the plane going to Hong Kong, you get into the airport. What are some of the first things you remember? Like, was there anything that stood out to you that was really different or new?
Definitely. I thought to myself, man, like, where did I just come to? You know, because they, at the time, they were still having like a lot of restrictions on the COVID-19 and everything.
True.
And I knew that I had to quarantine, but I didn't know that I wasn't gonna even see anybody. Like from the moment I landed on the airport, everything was lines and people were like, have you seen the movie where they have like the suits and it's like, you know, Monster Inc. I think.
Monster Inc.
Yeah, like, I thought I was, you know, in the movie, you know, like because everyone was wearing these suits and everything, and they sent me straight to my hotel to quarantine there for like 3 days.
Whoa.
You know, and yeah, so it was like, man, like this country or this place is really strict on their regulations of COVID. You know, that was my first impression.
So Mauricio, tell us about Hong Kong. Tell us about the location. Did you have any like favorite spots? Can you describe what it was like?
Yeah, so actually the school, the Hong Kong Adventist College, is a really small school, you know?
Oh, okay.
When we got there, he had the same impression because we were there together when he got there first. It's like, it's a little small, but Hong Kong is bigger, you know?
Right.
So the school, like you can tour it in like, I don't know, like 10 minutes, you know? You know?
Okay.
It's not that long, it's not that big. And then this, like there was this time, we were still like new, like maybe 1 month or something. And the new professors came, like they were from what, Jamaica, right? Jamaica, Dr. God and his wife. And they asked us to like tour them, like give them a tour of Hong Kong in school, you know?
Right.
And we were gonna say no because we, like I'm new here, like you give me a tour,
Right,
you know? I don't know
right.
Hong Kong, you know? But then we keep reading the email and it says at the bottom, you will be paid hourly. You know? And remember I told you that, you know, the story, the baseline of the story in Hong Kong is no money, right? So we need money. So we're like, you know, like we were talking like, yeah, bro, like we can do it, definitely, you know?
Bro,
So,
in that moment, we became tourist guides.
yeah, like that way I knew Hong Kong, you know, like say less, you know. So we accepted, and then the day comes, and we haven't even done our research ourselves. So Dr. God, his wife, they show up. You know, we talk to them. Okay, we start, you know, on the clock, right? And we start with the tour of the school first.
Right.
And I told you it can be done in like 10 minutes or less, right? But we're getting paid on the hour, right? So you gotta keep that in mind. So we go, we start talking to them like, so this is the door, you know, and there is, you know, this thing here. It has 3 floors, you know, like this is the door, you know. We start showing them like everything about the school just to make more time. And then when it came the time to like, we literally showed them everything. So we had to go out now, right?
Right.
And so we go out, and we both don't know anything, right?
And we didn't have service on our phones.
Like the whole year we didn't have, like internet,
service.
basically no service. So we go and then we just knew how to take the bus. That was it. We go to this place called Changkwano, which is the closest town to the school. And then there's like a lot of big malls in Hong Kong. That's the thing. Hong Kong is known for malls, you know, like malls and shopping. And so we go to this mall, Popcorn. And so we start showing them. And as he's talking to them, I'm looking for like trying to, you know, get Wi-Fi, connected to Wi-Fi, and to see like, okay, where is the like a supermarket to show them where they can do their groceries, you know?
That was our point, right?
That was the point. Yeah.
To go and show them the supermarket so they can buy groceries.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is that there is many places where you can buy stuff, you know, like.
And we had never buy groceries ourselves.
Yeah, never, you know. And then we ended up arriving to this place, and and it turned out to be like this really fancy grocery shop. And so we were like, okay, so this is where you're not supposed to do your shopping, you know, like this is where you do not come. And now we're gonna show you the place that you're supposed to go, you know. And we keep walking. And that actually, you would think that after a year we would, you know our Hong Kong. But then at the end of the year, Dr. Kensho, our president, and his wife, they came for the graduation.
Really?
Yeah, they were invited to speak at the graduation for the school there. And so again, they asked us to tour them around, you know, for a day. I don't think we got paid this time.
No, it was for free.
It was for free.
We paid.
We paid. Yeah. But then we took them, and same story. You know, like I'm trying to get connection. He's doing the talking, just like distracting them.
I'm like, bro, I'll distract him. You search the location.
Yeah.
It was just like that.
And then at some point they realized we didn't know where we were going, because they were like, do you guys know where you're going? Like, are you sure you're not lost? They were like, don't worry, Dr. Ken, you know, like, we know, like, you know, this is the way. And so at the end, we made it, you know, like, we didn't get lost.
That's good.
But that was how we got to know Hong Kong, by exploring.
For those who don't know, we went to serve in Hong Kong together. So
Unfortunately.
Just kidding. It was an amazing experience together.
Yeah.
But tell us, well, how was the culture? Did you do anything fun to explore the culture? I mean, we have some stories, good stories, but what is your highlight?
Yeah, definitely. So
With the culture.
Right. So we were living in a dorm. So I had two roommates that were, you know, Hong Kongers, apparently is that how you say it. Hong Kongers that were my roommates. And we had like classes with people, you know, from there, of course. And I remember we were taking this class called Asian religions. So one of the assignments was to go and visit a church or a temple of another religion that you don't practice, you know. And so me and two friends, we went to this Buddhist church, or temple, not church, Buddhist temple, and we visited, like, it was called the 10,000 Buddha monastery or temple.
Okay.
So it was like a lot of stairs and a lot of, like, literally I think 10,000 maybe, you know, 10,000 Buddhas, like in different forms and like shapes. Some of them were like sitting like this. Some of them like had like crazy, you know, eyebrows. Like they were all different. So like as we go, we're just visiting, and then like one of my friends was actually Buddhist at the time. So she was explaining to me like how they pray and do, you know, different things. And that was one of the things, you know, that stood out to me. Like they have a lot of Buddhist temples and they practice, you know, it's part of their culture. So that was one of the highlights of, you know, the exposure to the culture that I had in Hong Kong.
Did you have any favorite food?
I did, yes.
What was your favorite food?
My favorite food, so it was actually from the calf, you know, I'm not gonna lie. From the calf. No, so
Bro,
they
you
had,
love the cat food.
I mean, I did, bro, you know, like you could do it for seconds, you know, and so
True.
it was
For free.
amazing.
Fair
For
enough.
free, you know.
Fair
for
enough.
free. They love that there. So they had this white rice with scrambled eggs on a red tomato sauce.
Oh,
You know,
That was
and
good.
so you would put the rice as a base, and then the eggs and the tomatoes on top, and you didn't need anything else. You know, like that was it. That was fire.
bro, did you have any favorite snacks?
Snacks, you know. Oh, man, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I would say I really liked these biscuits called digestives. You know, so I don't know if this is actually from Hong Kong, but I've never seen it anywhere else. And I thought at first I thought this helps you with digestion, you know, because the name, you know, the name was digestive. So I literally thought this is good for the stomach.
Oh.
So at night I would eat like a bunch, you know, like
Fair enough.
"Oh, this is not harmful, you know, it's actually good for me." But I liked it a lot, you know. So that was actually one of my favorite snacks in Hong Kong.
No way.
Yeah.
What was the flavor like? Was it sweet or kind of
It's
salty?
sweet. So it's a biscuit, like a cookie, and on top it has like a layer of chocolate.
Oh.
And so it's just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I brought some here actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that does really sound good.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm very curious, in addition to eating seconds at the calf, what did you do every day? What would your normal day look like? What were some of the responsibilities or like things that you did?
Well, our days were very different and very different things. So like on a normal day, like we would wake up and go to class because we were taking 8 credits.
What classes were you taking?
Huh?
Staff worship.
Oh yeah, he's right. Before the classes, we had staff work. The thing is, I didn't go every time. That's why I didn't go, many times. But yeah, we were supposed to go to staff worship, which was at 8 a.m. That's why, it's too early. But we had staff worship. And then after that, I was taking mostly psychology classes because I'm doing a minor in psychology.
Okay.
So I had psychology. I took singing lessons,
Wow.
Music. And
he sang horrible.
What?
That's his opinion.
No. He will, bro, tell us.
What?
At what time were you practicing every day? Your singing class.
Diligent person, bro.
Just tell us at what time, just for our audience.
Practice
at what
makes
time,
perfect, bro.
At what time were you practicing?
Honestly, I don't remember. You tell me.
This guy, he will wake up at 6:30 a.m. or 7 a.m. to practice his songs. And he was singing in the shower, and he was singing in another room just across my room. And I remember I would wake up like so annoyed. I was like, Mauricio, just shut up. Like, I am so tired. I was wanting to sleep, and he would go and sing and practice his songs for the class.
Okay, here's the thing. I like to take morning showers, right? And the best place to sing, I don't know if you can agree with me.
Yeah.
The best place to sing
Is the shower.
It's the shower.
Yeah,
Because that's
when
where you
you're-
sound the best.
When you're by yourself.
Bro, I don't care about myself. No, bro. I only have one shower, so I gotta do my singing. So yeah. But anyways, I was taking psychology, music, PE, and some religion classes, like different things.
So you were taking classes, and then what else were you doing?
Right. So we would take classes, then we would go to the cafeteria. Basically, our job was to make friends, to make connections with people. So every chance I had, or we had to like talk to someone new, to like spend time with people, we would do it. So like every lunch, every class, every like free time we had, we tried. At least I tried to, like hang out with people. Like getting to know them and stuff. So if I didn't have class or homework, or even if I had homework, I would just hang out with my friends. Hang out with them, and we'll get into this. But one of the things I loved doing, was hiking. So I went on a lot of hikes in Hong Kong.
No way.
He was going on hikes every single day.
Really?
Basically, yeah.
Wow. That's so interesting.
Yeah, so what was the most difficult thing during this school year in Hong Kong? What was your biggest challenge, or what was some of the problems that you faced?
There were definitely some challenges along the way, but I can remember one of the hardest things was the beginning. When I got there, like I told you, I had to quarantine. And with the jet lag and everything, like my life was messed up. Like I didn't even know if I had, if it was day or night or whatever. And so after the quarantine in the hotel, you still had to do like 5 days in your room or at your house. In my case, in the school, in the dorm. And so of course I didn't know anyone. I was new there. This guy wasn't there. So I was by myself. I wasn't supposed to go out. So I would just be in the room, like I don't like, being, like without doing anything. Yeah, stuck. And so that was a little difficult, like adapting and just trying to, I think all SMs struggle with this, like what's my purpose here? Like what did I really come here to do, So that first week or first 2 weeks were the most challenging for me,
Yeah. I think that's something that a lot of SMs like struggle with at some point. They're challenged, like, what am I doing here? I know I definitely thought that a few times.
Yeah.
Is there any times during your experience where there was a story or something happened to you that like really impacted you? Like you saw God working or you had like an interaction with somebody? Is there a story about that you'd like to share?
Yeah, definitely. I like sharing this story. I've already shared it with a lot of people, friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I had this friend. She was a Buddhist first. And anyway, long story short, she was going through a lot of things, And I remember one time she was telling me like, I'm having this problem, I'm having this other problem and everything. And I just, felt bad for her, I tried to help her, I would listen to her. But I mean, there is only so much you can do for someone, right? And at the time I was also like kind of struggling on my own life, like with like, God, like, is this really what you've called me to do? Like at the beginning I told you that the reason I went serving as an SM was because I wanted to confirm that, God called me to be a pastor.
Right.
So one of these nights, like, I just went out to hike, to the mountain. Like, it was dark, I was by myself, and I remember like going through the mountain, and I was just praying, just talking to God, And as I was praying, I was praying originally for this like calling thing, like, God, like, is this really what you want me to do? Like, sometimes I don't feel qualified. I feel like I'm not it.
Right.
Like, I feel like I'm not built to do this, you know? And so I would just wrestle with him. And as I was doing that, you know, like just trusting him, like, hey, Lord, like, please, if you just give me one more sign, like, you've given me a lot already, but, you know, I just need one more. And then at that time, like, this friend of mine came to my mind, you know, and I switched my prayer focus. And I started to pray for her, you know, and I started to tell God, like, God, you know, I feel for this person, and I don't really know what to do, you know, but I know that you can help her. So whatever it is, you know, that you have to do or that you can do for her, like, please do it, you know. And I remember, like, just feeling peace after that. 1 week comes by, and I'm just, you know, I'm talking to this person again, my friend, and then we're just talking about, like, different things. And then all of a sudden, she brings up the topic. She says, Mauricio, I want to be baptized. You know,
what?
Amen.
And I was, that was my reaction. You know, like, what? You know, like, where did I come from? So I was like, okay, I try to keep it cool. You know,
Right.
like, okay, you know, like, you know, like,
I expected it.
yeah, you know,
I was praying for it.
sure, like, tell me why. You know, like what made you, you know, like, where is this coming from? You know, and so we start talking, and she's telling me all this thing. Basically, God was moving in her heart.
Wow.
You know, and after we talked, you know, she asked some questions. At the end, I told her, hey, like, I'm really, really happy, even though I'm trying to, you know, keep it cool. I'm really happy that you just told me this and that you have the desire to give your life to Jesus. How about if we study the Bible together? How about if we get ready, you know, for this decision, you know?
Yeah.
And she was like, let's do it, you know? And so Edwin and I, we started to have Bible studies with her.
Really?
And after, like, what was it, like 3 months maybe? 2 months. She was baptized, you know?
Amen.
And so that was an answer to prayer. That was an experience that I love telling, because it's just like God answered my prayer. And I'm not saying that, you know, it was because I prayed. No, I just saw God working in someone's life, you know, like someone I knew, and someone I saw how God changed their life from one point to another, you know, and that was just amazing.
Wow, and it's awesome that she was your friend first. You built the friendship. At the end, she had the interest of knowing more about God.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some experiences together, but I want to hear from you. Did any other people or students got to study the Bible as well? What was some accomplishments that you had in Hong Kong?
That we had in Hong Kong. So
With Jesus.
With Jesus,
Amen.
of course, glory to God. Yeah, so we were able to study with more people. Our roommates, he would study with his roommates, I would study with my roommates. Yeah, we both had 2 roommates.
Okay.
And we would also study with some of the kids from the academy and some people from the college. In the campus, there is a high school and a college. So yeah, we had, you know, connections with both. And so, yeah, so like at the end of the year, after the Bible studies and God working in their hearts and their lives, we were able to see 6 baptisms, you know, by the grace of God. So
That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah. So what are some of the events, or what are some of the cool things that you got to do with the students in the college?
Yeah, so Edwin and I, we had this we jokingly said, but not really jokingly, because it was kind of true, that, you know, we were the marketing department, you know, like him and I, like, we would, like, promote everything, like, and even exaggerate it, you know, like, we would promote things that we didn't have, you know, like,
We would like to complicate ourselves.
we like to make it sound like, you know, like, it's gonna be this huge big thing that you should come to. And I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't, you know,
Like what?
For example, we had this event. It was a spiritual retreat. It was called Merch Weekend. You know, this is our logo, our slogan, you know, Merch Weekend.
Merch Weekend.
And so the idea was to take both college and high school students and church too, the church members, on a retreat, on a spiritual retreat, on a different place, like outside campus, for a weekend. And we ended up planning it all, like him and I, you know? And so that was one of the stressful times we had, because first, we didn't have money, you know? Like, second, we had to plan the program. This guy, we ended up writing the discipline, like the rules, you know? Like, you know, boys are not allowed in girls' cabins, you know, and all of that.
And it was important because they weren't Adventists or Christians, so some of them, they don't know these things.
That's true, you know, and there was no teacher or no one. I'm not saying that, you know, they were lacking, but we were the ones that had to make sure that, hey, like, this has to work, you know, this way. And so that was one of the events that we did. And what else? We had weeks of prayer. The first one we preached that. We went on a mission trip to the Philippines.
Really?
We
No
did.
way.
We did. After COVID got a little, the restrictions were lifted. We were able to travel. We were part of the choir. What else? Oh, we had this food and fun fair thing where students can put a booth, kind of like 423 market night, and you can sell something. And it was actually before the mission trip, so we didn't have any money. That's our story.
That's just a story about life.
That's the baseline of our time in Hong Kong. No money.
Nobody.
No money. So we had to fundraise for that, and so being the good Hispanics that we are, we decided to cook something. Even though we don't cook, we just looked up, how to make empanadas. With the help.
Have you tried empanadas before?
I have.
Okay.
So good.
Yeah, and with the help of a family that was a huge, a gift from God, a Venezuelan family that helped us so much throughout the year. We made the empanadas with them. They basically helped us to do it. They taught us how to do it. And
They basically made them.
They basically made them. We were just doing, following instructions. And so we sold empanadas at the Food and Fun Fair. What else did we do? Help me remember. Connection, of course. We started a youth worship on the second semester because the church was, Cantonese, English, and it was a little difficult sometimes to understand, you understand. And so we wanted something in English that was for the students, something a little more, contemporary, a little more attractive to young people. So we started Connection. And this was a youth worship for students, and by the grace of God, this worship still is running, it's still up and running today,
That is so neat. Wow. So were you guys friends before did you know each other before you went to Hong Kong, or was it kind of like you met and became friends as you were in Hong Kong together?
So we were friends before.
Okay.
We were,
Unfortunately.
but I think he can agree with me that although we were friends before Hong Kong, we weren't that close. It wasn't like, hey, I need this or whatever, or this is happening in my life. It was just like, hey, how are you kind of thing, see him from time to time. But after Hong Kong, of course, it's different.
So, Mauricio, what is a Bible verse that really helped you to go through that journey in Hong Kong? What is maybe a passage in Scripture that inspired you or gave you motivation when you felt like just giving up in Hong Kong?
Yeah, so I really went back to this one chapter, one psalm. It's the Psalm 139, and it's a psalm that talks about the knowledge that God has for us, And there is this part that it's so beautiful to me because I could really apply it to my own life. Every time I went hiking by myself, and I was in the middle of nowhere, kind of lost maybe, sometimes.
You get lost?
I think so. I think that sometimes I got lost. I just didn't know I was lost. But I would just read this chapter, and there is this one passage that says, even if I go to the depths of the sea, or if I go to the end of the earth, and I was literally on the other side of the world, and I was so far from family, from everything, and so this really resonated with me. Even if I go here, or if I'm lost in the middle of nowhere, you're still there with me, and you know me,
that is beautiful.
And so that was something that kept me going throughout the year.
Wow, that is really beautiful.
Yeah. So what's in conclusion, what is the biggest lesson that you learned over the past year in Hong Kong?
Man, I learned a lot of things, but one thing that is a highlight, one of the biggest things that I learned, is that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give what you don't have. And there were times where I would try. We were in a spiritual leadership position, and we were supposed to be these role models or examples, or people who know what to say, or who can give you spiritual counsel, every time you have a problem, because that's kind of what people saw us as, I guess, by the conversations. And so there were times where I would not have my devotions, or I would not have that connection with God in the morning, and I could really feel that, man, I'm running on the fumes. I'm running on the smoke of what was what there was a fire before, where there was a fire before, you know. And like, if I'm gonna be a pastor, you know, again coming back to this, you know, did you call me, you know? If I'm gonna be a pastor, if I'm gonna do this for life, if I'm gonna give my whole self to this, man, like, I gotta take care of my own personal life with God, my own personal relationship with Jesus, you know. And so it just hit me really hard that, like, even when I'm not feeling like it, that's the right thing to do, and that's what's gonna help me get through whatever I'm going through, you know. So that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's a really important lesson that I can apply to my life as well. Just spending time with God, and having our cups full so we can share with other people. That is really good.
Yeah, Mauricio, and just to conclude our podcast today, yeah, I'm pretty sure that there are people in the audience that maybe have that thought. Maybe God has put in their minds this idea of becoming missionaries. What is something you can tell to that person that is watching this video or is listening to this podcast about becoming a missionary, or someone that is planning to go to Hong Kong? What is something that you can tell them?
Well, which camera am I looking at? This one. Okay. So, if you have been thinking about serving God as a student missionary, like whatever way, you know, Hong Kong, Bolivia, Philippines, Africa, anywhere, just do it. You know, just do it. And I'm not sponsored by Nike. You know, just do it, because when you do it and as you do it, you will realize how God will use you, how He will transform your life, and how you will see that in serving other people, God is gonna serve your heart, your life. So it changed my life, and I know God is working, you know, in people who are dedicated to serve Him. So just do it.
Amen, amen. That's beautiful. I mean, I'm pretty sure that God confirmed your calling to be a pastor through all these experiences. And I feel that just whenever we ask God, like, please God, show me this, He's faithful to provide an answer. Maybe sometimes He's wait a little bit, sometimes He's, okay, I'll give it to you, and sometimes He's a no. But always God answers, you know. And more than that, God calls and He qualifies those who He's calling, you know. And I think that's just a beautiful lesson that we can learn from this podcast, no? What do you think?
I agree. Yeah. So this is a little surprise that we have for you to thank you for being on the podcast.
Pancakes with honey and fruits.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna cook it up right here, right now.
So, bro, I asked you about what were your favorite snacks in Hong Kong, right? And you said that your favorite snacks are what?
The digestives?
Digestives. But I remember that you like something else. Do you remember these little cookies that are filled with chocolate?
The koala looking cookies?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Koala. So they were little koalas, and they were filled with chocolate, right? And I remember that every time that somebody will give them to Mauricio, like, he was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, he would just exaggerate everything, no? But I brought some from Hong Kong, and these are the two left that I have. So I hope you like them.
Thank you so
What a
much.
sacrifice.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Emily.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
So I hope you like them, and thank you so much for this beautiful lesson and for this podcast, and thank you so much for being here with us, bro.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you so much. And I hope that, you know, through the story of different missionaries and people who have dedicated a year or a semester to serve God, that more people can be inspired, you know. And I think that's the purpose of this whole podcast, you know, to inspire more people and to show them that God is in the business of doing miracles, you know, and when we serve Him, you know, He does great things.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you so much for listening and watching this episode. If you liked it, please share it with your friends. Make sure to follow our Instagram page, SAU Student Missions, and tune in for more stories.
Yeah, and remember that God doesn't call the qualified, but He qualifies the call. Stay tuned. See you in the next episode.